Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm covering a custom champion design for League of Legends. This is Squall, the Uncanny Amphibian. I'm going to be going over his abilities, his purpose in League, some potential builds for the champion, questions I have for the design, and some lore at the end. I also want to say that I'm not associated with Riot Games, nor am I asking them to create this champion. This video is for fun and to practice game design. Some things in this design are going to be estimates. It's hard to tell exactly how much damage an ability should do or how long its range should be without getting a prototype in game, which obviously I can't do. This is more about the concept. Speaking of which, Squall is a mid-lane control mage. His character is inspired from Princess and the Frog, Beauty and the Beast, Merlin, and the Storm Teacher from Wizard 101. I wanted to make a control mage because for a popular subclass, they really don't have that many champions. I think most people would categorize Orianna, Syndra, Victor, and Azir into this category. There are obviously other mage champions, but they can all fit into their own groups. Squall needs to offer something unique to this subclass without breaking its identity. So Squall has two things that make him unique: his disengage power and his sustain. For these strengths, his weaknesses are that he gets outranged by long-range champions. Squall is best into low-range champs that are looking to engage on him and his team. Let's go over his abilities, starting with his passive, Shock Twig. Whenever Squall casts a spell, he gains a stack with a cap of 3. Whenever he auto-attacks, any of his stacks are used up to deal extra magic damage. If 3 stacks are used this way, the attack does even more damage, is instant, and gives him 20% move speed for 2 seconds. This passive is pretty simple and low power, but most of his power and complexity budget are spent in other parts of his design. This needed to be more low-key. It does a lot for the design though. This makes his auto-attacks relevant late game, and gives added modularity and options to Squall's last hitting and trading in lane. Next is his Q. Each of his basic abilities represents an aspect of a hurricane: flooding, lightning, and wind. His Q is Beckon the Tide. This is a unique skill shot in that it forms a wave at his target and then pulls it back towards Squall. Enemies hit take magic damage and are slowed by a small amount. Squall also heals for a small amount off of every target hit. This healing is not meant to be combative like Aatrox or Dr. Mundo. Instead, it is intended to give him sustain in lane and the ability to heal up off of the waves and jungle camps he farms in the mid to late game. Most mages have to recall at low health in the late game, but not Squall. The slow is mostly there to allow Squall to get auto attacks in while trading in lane. It doesn't scale that much and isn't meant to be a detrimentally slowing ability. His next ability is his W, Chain Lightning. This is another unique skill shot and the champ's main form of CC. Squall casts a lightning bolt in a line similar to Jinx W, but this one stuns the target as well. If the ability hits a target, Squall can recast it again from that target with the same range. This mechanic allows for some unique plays, like stunning a caster minion in order to recast the lightning onto the enemy mid laner. In a dream scenario, you could potentially stun both the enemy jungler and mid laner in an early game 2v2. His E is a dash ability, Turbulent Leap. Squall leaps away, knocking enemies around him up for 0.5 seconds and dealing magic damage. This ability only knocks up people where Squall jumps from, not where he lands. It is meant as a disengage tool. Imagine 2 people dive you in a team fight. You can E away, knocking them up, giving you just enough time to hit them both with a chain W. Into a Q, healing you back up. Now you have 3 stacks on your passive and you can auto attack for massive damage and gain move speed to run away. Squall is a frog. He's meant to be slippery. This ability makes him hard to catch. His kit culminates in his R, Call the Hurricane. Squall summons a large circular hurricane zone that buffs him as long as he remains inside of it, and hurts enemies that enter. Squall gets plus 20, 30, or 40 ability haste depending on the ability's rank, 20% move speed, and extra mana regeneration. Enemies in the circle get negative ability haste, are slowed by 20%, and take a small amount of damage over time. This negative ability haste is a new mechanic to League. It helps Squall counter champions like Riven and Sylas who rely on their cooldowns. The hurricane lasts 15 seconds and fades when Squall is killed. Squall's purpose in League is to be an anti-engage control mage. You want to pick Squall into champions like Riven, Sylas, Viego, and Vi. All of these melee bruisers that are looking to beat you up. When you're playing Squall, you want to get to objectives early so you can position your R and wait for the fight to come to you. Squall lacks engage tools and is not good at walking into poke. He's countered by long-range champions like Ziggs, Caitlyn, Xerath, and Syndra. Since he's so low range, he's also vulnerable to more CC than other control mages would be. And if caught, he can be bursted down before he can jump away. I want to go over some problems that could happen with Squall, as I think it's important to understand potential threats to your design vision. One worry I have is that Squall's Q would be hard to tune. I want it to be a good tool to heal up on waves and jungle camps, but not something that heavily influences team fights or forces people to build Grievous wounds. Another potential issue is that Squall could just be too slippery. He's meant to be hard to kill, but the combination of his ult and dash could make him too frustrating to pin down. The last big issue I could see with him would be his threat to top lane. He's supposed to be good into low range comps, but counterpicking him into all of these top lane bruisers could be a problem. We see this with champions like Akshan. That champ is very good against melee champions, so he's actually just super powerful in the lane that's filled with melee players. Squall could also see play support, but I think he gets outranged too hard by most AD carries to be very good as a bot laner. I also want to go over some potential builds. In general, I think Squall obviously likes AP, but he doesn't need too much CDR since he gets it with his ult. He also doesn't care too much about dealing the most damage in the game. For Mythics, I think Lost Chapter Mythics would be necessary. I don't expect Crown would be too good since he's so low range and already good against assassins. As for legendaries, I think the new Lichbane would be good on him since he auto-attacks a fair amount due to his passive. He also has a lot of synergy with Horizon Focus since all of his abilities including his ultimate proc it. He likes health a lot due to his low range, so I could see builds focused around Everfrost, Demonic Embrace, and Morello. For runes, I think his main keystone would be Comet since his Q slows him just enough to hit the Comet. But I also think Electrocute could be good, or even Unsealed Spellbook, since I think getting both Ghost and Barrier would be great for him. I think secondary pages like Presence of Mind and Legend Tenacity would be good some games, and if they don't have too much CC, you could take something like Taste of Blood and Ultimate Hunter. To finish things off, I wanted to talk a little bit about his lore and theme. Squall was once a Demacian noble, but like his friend Lux, he had hidden magic abilities. Unlike Lux, he loved to experiment with his power in secret. But one day, in an attempt to turn a Poro into a Gromp, he accidentally turned himself into an anthropomorphic frog. Unable to show his face, he ran away to an abandoned tower on the edge of what was unbeknownst to him was Ixtal. There, he toiled away for years trying to transform himself back. As he spelled and hexed, stormfronts would emanate from the tower as he drove himself mad. Eventually, he saw little purpose in going back to who he once was. Obsessed with his immense power, he controls the storms of Runeterra to deluge whatever city feels like a fun target today. I made this model in Hero Forge. You can see he's wearing a combination of a wizard's robe and a raincoat, and underneath he still has his old Demacian clothes on. His staff is supposed to be more like a small twig, but this is really all they had available. I think this staff makes him look a little too much like Victor, and he's really supposed to have a small wand, kind of like Merlin uses. So that's it. Thanks for watching my pitch for Squall the Uncanny Amphibian. I had a lot of fun designing him and making this video. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe for more in the future, and have an awesome day. Hey guys. So Squall actually started off as a D&D character I had named Fibble the Frog. You can see a picture here that my girlfriend drew of him, and he just kind of evolved into a League design. I've been designing a couple characters just for fun, and I had this Storm character, this Storm Mage, and I kind of just mashed these two characters together and made this champion. I plan on making more of these designs in the future. They're really fun. I think you can fill in the holes that League is missing. There's so many different characters that are available. They're not running out of design space anytime soon. If you want to see more of those videos, let me know. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.